Grifco.
Hello guys, it may strike you as peculiar that a system designed to educate is so fundamentally flawed that it undoubtedly causes more damage to the mind than help. With unfathomable amounts of work and information being shoved down juveniles' throats, this is truly the worst thing to inflict on a human's most developmental stages. There's so much work, in fact, that I have not been able to complete anything major for 4 months. Save for this video, of course, which I started less than 2 weeks ago. So, who is to blame for this heinous excuse for education? Who is the culprit behind these ridiculous circumstances? Well, look no further than dolphins. They can be found throughout all of society. Your neighbors, your friends, even your own family could be dolphins in disguise. Now, there are other entities at play, most notably lizard people, but they've been busy on a certain machine that you just might recognize. But I digress. Why are the cetaceans doing this? Why are they so despicable that they inflict boundless work and stress at the exact most sensitive and emotive part of a human's life? Well, to start off, I have several theories. Number 1, they're trying to weaken us for the revolution. The most obvious answer is that they're doing this to ruin our defenses and weaken our minds, as so we don't notice their blubbery presence. That isn't a dolphin with a malfunctioning genetically modified translucent fish suit. It's a mere hallucination from sleep deprivation, is what people will think to themselves. As I've discussed in depth in a previous video, the reason why they want to remain hidden, and more worrisomely, weaken our defenses, is that they will rise up one day, and humanity's downfall might just follow suit. Though, if this is the case, then why do they appear to be trying to teach actual subjects? Well, we can only assume it is either to give a false sense of reasoning, or to allow us to gain just the right amount of intelligence that we can complete brain-heavy tasks in our future, but at the expense of joy and basic mental health. What hard experiments they will conduct in humanity's murky future is uncertain, but perhaps the repetitive tasks entailed may provide some clues. Number 2, they find joy in strange things. As we know, humans have a curious sense of humor and desire. It's unpredictable. What would normally seem like a tragedy can easily be a comedy, due to absurd concepts that cannot be quite pinpointed. Because of the fundamental oddities of our own behavior, who's to say an entirely different order of species wouldn't derive satisfaction from equally strange things? This case might be what's occurring with the dolphins. They could have an inexplicable desire to destroy the human species, just because it might give them unrivaled joy for some unknown evolutionary reason. In fact, hunting for sport is something dolphins have already been seen taking part in, despite having no survival advantages or logical reasoning. But that brings us to number 3. They're tormenting the human race as a whole for payback. Unlike what was suggested before, this joy might instead be from a fully aware and conscious choice, which is vengeance. It is well known of the damage humans have caused on their species. Albeit how inhumane the education the dolphins have created is, it has still caused much less deaths than the amount of cetaceans murdered by the Homo genus. One could argue this collective surplus of repetitive work could be justified, were it not for the fact it's being put on younger generations that are not even responsible. No matter the reason though, the consequences are impossible to ignore. This is partially due to the presence of incompletion in the frontal cortex of most juveniles, as well as the directly contradicting thing humans have to the nature of these tasks, which is functioning emotions. Now, although I personally have suffered from these issues, I did begin to devise a long-term solution, a program that will solve your homework, or at least your physics homework. I dubbed it the Grifco Physical Science Solver. But unfortunately, lack of funding has caused the project to have quite limited capabilities, resulting in it being practically useless to the current more complex problems I've been tasked with. And not to mention, my current grade does not have a single art or music class, which has truly made every second spent in school a second completely wasted. What I find most perplexing, however, is how little questioning there is of a system clearly designed for aiding these organisms, and how not many recognize learning as the blatant disguise it is. Again, I thought taxing humans with incomplete minds to finish objectives regarding the one thing they're often least skilled at doing, planning, would be the last straw, but apparently not. It might even be a small oversight on the cetaceans' behalf that humans don't all have identical minds. Truly a shocker. How absurd it is that people learn things at different paces, and that doing it in such a fashion can increase efficiency tenfold. Per demonstration, in 2018 and 2019, learning at my own pace mathematically got me 3 years ahead of my grade. But the second I was forced to complete boundless work on things I learned 2 years prior, my passion completely extinguished. Of course, I explained the predicament to my instructor, but countless teachers themselves appear to be sociopathic creatures with an unraveled urge to despise humans in their own right, which, as mentioned repeatedly, can only be explained by their desire to overthrow humanity. This unfairness could even be traced back to some of my elementary years, getting in trouble and excluded for attempting to help my peers, simply making a scribble on accident, or even knocking over a book, with all protests being dismissed without a thought as an excuse, which would then be followed with screaming. Of course, being so inconsiderate of those younger than 10 can only be explained by a foreign group of species plotting against us. So overall, although not much can be done, it should certainly be regarded that dolphins are essentially the most feasible reason for public education's highly unacceptable problems, at least outside of Finland, in that they might in fact be intentional. Hopefully someday this societal infection is cured, but for now, many of us will have to endure the silent suffering of enormous quantities of wasted time and unenjoyment, until a possible solution of some kind is conjured. But no matter what, humans, like most hominids, are rather clever. Happy New Year.
Which aided these creatures in